This episode of The Extraordinary Keys for Life with Julia and is brought to you by Synergy for the Soul, working together to help you shift paradigms, envision a better life, empower your mind to live a better version of life through educating via workshops, retreats and events. For more information, head to our Facebook page, Synergy for the Soul. Julia and has a passion and hope for inspiring others to find a different outlook and bring motivation for personal happiness and enrichment. In a moment, you'll hear from Julia about this episode called Life is Short and her guest, Kawena Gordon. A must-listen episode if you are looking for ways to keep vitality in your life, like Kawena, one of the most effervescent nonagenarians you'll meet.
Hi, welcome to the Extraordinary Keys for Life podcast. I'm Julia and author of Extraordinarily Ordinary, Eyes Wide Open to Wonder. The best thing about this podcast is you get the benefits of a host of expert guest knowledge, plus the actual things which changed my life, keys, not secrets, because I know these things are all by nature of life available to everyone of any age. And I truly hope we may inspire you to grab the reins and improve your life. Hint, the real secret is that it just takes practice to walk tall in your own life. And now I realise why my parents taught me to walk around with a book on my head repeating the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. This series will continue to be available for you to return to over and over. Plus, if you want a constant companion to refer to, you can grab a copy of my book. While some of my story might seem a little kooky, writing my book was when I actually welcomed people into my newly discovered world, written in real time as my journey unfolded. You can think of this podcast as a presentation of the keys which have helped me improve my life exponentially. I liken it to a workshop because that was what inspired me to take my message to the podcast platform. When COVID-19 arrived and shut down all the opportunities to present after just running my first workshop, I had nowhere to turn. As my parents taught me, there's no time like the present to make a move towards a better life, and move we did a lot. If nothing else, I certainly grew up with a mind wide open to ever-changing doors of experience, to absorb knowledge from all walks of life. While my dad chopped and changed his career, our family had to hang on for the ride. As said in my introduction, I literally didn't often find a place to stop. At nearly 50, I finally made time to catch my breath and find stillness. Growing into adulthood, I'd launched myself headfirst into every new chapter of life, like flicking a book through the pages. So I learned life goes by in a flash. It is often challenging and sometimes harrowing. And yet now, I look back and think, if only I'd known that when I was younger. Truth is, life is short, and in fact, nothing stays the same forever. But as long as there is life, there is hope. Recently, I came across some fortune cookie wisdom. Getting older means getting better. Old is good. Get old. Get happy. I'm reminded that it's a privilege to get old. One not everyone is afforded. Like a close friend of mine who didn't live past 50 and missed seeing her own family grow. It is never too late to choose a different view. As the wisdom of David Bowie says, aging is an extraordinary process where you become the person you always should have been. And today, we're joined by my mentor of the past 4 years and dear friend, Kawena, who at 91 years young is living proof of this. Welcome, Kawena. Thank you for joining us.
It's an absolute pleasure. I've been looking forward to it so much.
Lovely to have you here. We don't get to catch up too often at the moment with the
silly thing that's going on.
COVID restrictions. Anyway, first of all, I would like to just let everybody know that you and I have been working together for a few years now, and what I remember most is when I came to you and you taught me breathing. So I was wondering if you would share with my listeners how you came to learn the breathing and use it in your practice.
Well, the first time I understood the power of the breath was when I went to learn to sing when I was 50. When I was little, I wanted to sing, but there was no money those days. Nobody had any money to go and have a teacher teach me. So when the children are all grown up and gone, and I was wondering what there was for my future, I thought I'll go and learn to sing, which those days you didn't do, so it didn't get me far. But what I did learn was from my teacher, when you sing, you need to put the voice above the breath. So she taught me to breathe more powerfully, but more gently as well. People often think deep breathing is, it's not. Long, slow, gentle breathing is deep breathing. And the deep breathing gives you much more oxygen so your body can heal itself at night when you're asleep. The body uses up, or we use up, most of our oxygen that we do with just ordinary breathing in the daytime. And it's as if the body says to you when you're ready to go to sleep, okay, we need some more oxygen. Do some deep breathing so that I can heal you through the night. That's when the body goes to work. A lot don't understand that simple understanding, but I had to learn that, and I found out when I learnt to sing the beauty of the power of the breath, because I felt so much better. I had so much more energy. Even my brain could think a lot clearer, and I studied and learnt a lot better. And even now at 91, I study better than I ever did in the whole of my life. I look back now and I see how my oxygen, the extra oxygen in the body, was mainly for the brain. The body doesn't need a lot of oxygen, it just can flop around 24/7. The brain tells it when it wants it to. Very, very quickly when we want to move a finger or a hand, the brain lets the body know. The brain is the main part of who we are. I can even say we are our brain. We are not our body. That disappears when we go home. But when we go home, the brain goes with us, and all the information and what we've learned on planet Earth, it goes home with us. It's a main energy source, and it takes most of the goodness out of the food we eat. It takes most of the goodness out of the liquids that we drink, plus the oxygen that we breathe in. So realise the brain is far more important than the power of the support of the body. But we do need that till we go home. Yeah.
I remember when I first came to you, I just started learning how to understand and use my intuition. And I had touched briefly on meditation, and you actually showed me how to breathe properly with the belly breathing, which made a huge difference in connecting with myself and tapping into that source. So meditation and breathing sort of go hand in hand. And I think you started meditation classes, didn't you?
That's the first thing I did when I wanted to go on a spiritual journey. I didn't realise, I just felt to do it. And when I went to teach the meditation, I was asked to teach it by a friend. And I said to her, when she said, you go and teach meditation, I said, I can't do meditation. I've never done it. I haven't got a clue what it's about. Well, she said, go and learn. So I went and took 2 lessons, and then I taught it. But I learned as we went through, as we got together. Those days, meditation was a little bit frowned on. It's going back a long way, so maybe 50 years, even 60. And but we started it up, and then people started to get feeling good because they were doing this long, slow, gentle breathing into meditation. When you breathe into the meditation, you're taking your mind and you're counting your breaths, and you're taking your mind off the day's worries and troubles. A lot of people say they can't meditate because they can't stop thinking. And we know you can't think 2 things at once. So as you start to count the breathings in, you find you're letting go of what you were thinking before, the silly thoughts. And then also, if you start to flex and squeeze the muscles gently in the body to relax the whole of the body, that takes your mind further away from what you're worried about through the daytime. So this is the best way to go into meditation and be successful. It's not easy to meditate if you've got your head full of worry.
And I think that's when I came to you, I learnt to find that stillness. And that's where I've said before, the rest took flight like magic, because it's something that anybody can do at any age. And I know I've heard you say many times that you credit the breathing and long and healthy life that you lead to the breathing, the power of the breath. That's your main teaching.
Well, if I think about it now, I look back and I remember wondering whether I was right or not about the power of the breath being so amazing and so helpful to us in life. So I stopped for a month when I was about 70. I thought I'll stop the practice of the breathing and see how I go. And what happened in that month, I became just an old lady when I was about 70, because all I wanted to do was sit around, watch telly and maybe go for a bus ride, a trip. My brain was not full on. I wasn't wanting to be energetic. I wasn't wanting to achieve anything. By the time the full month was up, I kept going. But the time it was up, I couldn't get back into the breathing quick enough. And I've never stopped since. And that's what keeps me going at this late stage of my life. That keeps me healthy. And one of the main things, I do practice the throat breathing now, and that keeps me free of pain. The breathing's always kept me free of pain. That's what I feel. But with the throat breathing, it takes away the ear, nose and throat problems often. Some don't, but mostly it does. And you feel a lot better because you're not in discomfort. If your body's comfortable, you can achieve anything.
I think they've proven now that with the pain, there's some people actually use the power of the breath to breathe into areas of pain, and I've heard it even used like in hospitals and in quite a few scenarios.
Well, with that one, the thing is, the way to do that is to vision when you're meditating. Vision where the discomfort is, or the illness is, or where the pain is. If you vision that and then breathe in as you're visioning, you've got a jolly good chance of getting rid of the pain and discomfort, and also helping to heal. Oxygen is the healer. So, if you decide to meditate, that's magic. But be very focused on the long, gentle breathing in and breathing out. And even the belly breathing, that is amazing. That's what we first learnt.
The breath is known as our first natural rhythm. And often we forget to even think about breathing because our subconscious mind does it for us. So to consciously grab hold of the breath and use it, I've heard it described as taking the reins of your life.
That's a wonderful way to put it, because you do become more in charge of your life when you can think clearly. And when you've got plenty of oxygen for that amazing brain, you can make better decisions and study far more better. If the young ones learn, they'd pass all their exams, because the oxygen is absolutely pure magic, because that's what we are.
Yes.
We are pure oxygen.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And a percentage of water, I think, as well.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
The oxygen is hugely responsible for our overall
Well, it's the first
function.
breath we take in, and it's the last breath we let go as we go home.
That's true, yes.
In between, it is up to us if we value it.
Yes, and it takes practice.
It does.
Practice.
I wasn't sure of it years and years ago, but now there's nothing. I would not miss one day doing my breathing exercises.
I know myself, I've often, like you said, when you were 70, you took a break, and I've every now and then let slip and not practiced my daily meditation, which largely is about breathing and setting myself up for the day and getting my energy, focused energy, and ready to run around and be busy.
It's amazing what we can achieve when we become conscious of the value of the breath, the value of the oxygen. Even the plants, even the animals, anything of nature has to have the breathing ability.
Yes.
And that creates really, as a rule, if you've got plenty of oxygen in anything of nature, it's got that lovely aura around it.
And that's why they also suggest that walking in nature, getting out in nature,
Amazing.
the ocean and amongst trees, where you're getting really pure oxygen.
Well, the trees bring the oxygen to us. And then we let go. When we're letting go of the oxygen, the trees take in all the crappy stuff, and then they turn that into our pure oxygen and breathe it back out.
They filter it for us.
They do, and when you hug a tree, you're connecting their aura with your aura, and the oxygen doubles in strength.
Really?
And you feel amazing when you hug a tree. I love hugging trees. It helps the brain even have a surge, another big surge of energy. You hug a tree and you'll be fine for a few days.
I have hugged trees before, but I didn't know that was why. I didn't know it was the oxygen.
Their aura.
It's like a power.
It's the greatest power on the planet. People are starting to learn and understand, and if they listen to us and take on the oxygen, the breathing, not the heavy stuff, the long, slow, gentle breathing, for, say, a month even, they'll see the difference in their energy, how they feel, and how they heal.
Yeah. I have written in my chapter 2 of Extraordinarily Ordinary about taking every breath with intention.
Oh, I like that.
Because we never know how many breaths we get to take.
We don't.
Or how long we're here for.
That's right.
And I know my father, he only just reached 70, and I wish that I'd been more aware back then to help him with the breath, because it's such a vital part of our life force and our life source,
well,
I guess.
It's true, because a lot of people, and I wouldn't have understood once, but I was guided and led onto this journey, but a lot of people push and shove trying to make themselves rich so when they retire they can relax and have a great time. But a lot of that, without focusing on giving the body and the mind all this amazing oxygen, often they're sick, too sick to enjoy the fruits of their labour.
That's a shame, isn't it?
You need to start it young, at least middle age, and be prepared for when you're almost saying, oh, my age even.
Yes.
Because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be as comfortable in my physical body and in my and so energetic in my mind without that oxygen, that extra oxygen.
Well, you're still saying you're 91 years young, so that's a pretty good testament.
Well, I honest and truly, I feel better now than I did at your age. I've never felt better in the whole of my life.
Well, even in the last few years since I've known you, we've both taken a lot more intention on the meditation and the breathing, and
it's absolute magic. It's a most, and I love to spread it around. I love, in my 2 books, I've got all about the breathing, and in the second book, the Angel book, I've even got the throat breathing, and that's absolute magic.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about that throat breathing?
It's a tricky one to learn, but if you keep practicing, you will end up being able to do it. What it does is, when you throat breathe, the tiny muscles at the back of the throat draw down the inflammation that builds up in the head, and that often causes ear, nose and throat troubles. And once you draw that little tiny bits of inflammation, you will pass it through. It doesn't cause any trouble whatsoever, but it clears the head, and it doesn't, the inflammation doesn't pressure on the other parts of what's in your head normally as a human being. So, to learn the throat breathing is truly, really magical. I think they might teach it in yoga, and I'm not sure, maybe they teach now what it does as well, because I don't know. But I just know my journey, and that's what I do every night before I go to sleep. And I sleep like a baby.
Yep, and prepare your mind for...
I do. And I have no pain whatsoever in my body. And I do credit the oxygen.
And then that prepares your mind for the creative hour.
And it does.
As we know.
Yes.
And so those 3 things, the breath and the meditation and the mind, all work together.
Yeah, they do. And if you're willing to do the work, you can have a magic life too.
Yes, and it's a privilege to reach an older age, and especially to be well. And
I value my age. I value the pain-free body. There's no discomfort. And I value still being able to even hold a great conversation at this stage in my life. And I'm not sure whether it helps people not have Alzheimer's and things, but I wonder, maybe it helps there too. Because it only takes about 5 minutes, 3 times a day.
that's all you have to do.
That's it.
Yeah, just a regular practice.
Well, what it also does, another thing I forgot to say, it also takes you to a higher vibration and you connect with what we call the universe, and it brings in a lot more creative ideas for you to make a much happier life for yourself. Lots more wonderful affirmations come through to help you keep positive. So it is beneficial in every way we can think.
The affirmations help work on the mind.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hand in hand with that comes gratitude
Absolutely.
for everything. As you said, you really value.
That attracts what you want in life.
Yes. 3 very big keys.
I think they're the main keys altogether.
Yes.
I can only use myself as an example. That's why I wrote my 2 books. In my 2 books, I've got everything in there that I do to be how I am at 91. And I'm just sharing it with the world so that others can possibly, if they wish, do the same in their own way, their own style, and achieve what they want in life. I know people are successful if they do their best in life. A lot say, I'm not a success, I haven't achieved. If you've achieved happiness within, then you're a success. Then you can have other successes outside of that when you go to the top of the ladder. But the basic achievement is making yourself happy first.
Yes, and I certainly know from the last 4 years that your tips have helped me immensely to elevate and grow myself to a much better place in life. And when you do better for yourself in life, everybody around you benefits as well.
When I see you guys being successful and doing the work and achieving, that makes us mentors and guides very happy, because we know that it works, it really works, and that helps us be happy, our soul journey, a lot happier and a lot more successful.
Yep. Just a little bit of adapting, isn't it?
That's all it is.
Adapting to some new thoughts
and a little bit
ideas.
of knowledge.
Yes, new knowledge.
That's why we're here on the planet. If we've got talents or knowledge, we need to share it.
Yes.
Anybody out there that has talents or knowledge, if you share it, that's sharing and caring and helping others. When you help others, what a wonderful feeling that is.
Yes, it sure is. There's a song, How Wonderful Life Is.
Oh.
I love that song by Elton John. Have you heard it?
No.
I'm not going to sing it because I...
Maybe say it. What are the words?
How wonderful life is. Now you're in the world.
Wonderful. That's enough.
There you go. I sang. Whoa.
You did. What
Didn't
next?
expect to do that.
You've come a long way, baby.
Thanks to you.
And
baby.
to your own efforts. I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but if you guys don't do the work, no one wins.
That's very true. We do have to do the work. We have to take on board the tips and apply them to our life and practice them. Otherwise, we can't benefit from them.
We won't. And then we can't help others either.
No, that's right. It's like the oxygen mask. You've got to put the oxygen mask on and help yourself, and then you can help everybody else.
You've got a point there.
Well, they make us do that on planes. If we get back on planes one day, we'll be back doing that.
Oh, we'll be fine in the future. It'll come quicker than we think, I feel, but it will be different.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people have learned a lot of good out of being not so busy making a living, and they're finding that they can learn other ways to make a living if they want to change that when this is all finished.
Yeah, there's a saying that I like, don't be so busy making a living that you forget to make a life.
That's right.
If we can all learn from this time.
Find the good in it.
Yes, and gain some new knowledge, we can help ourselves embrace a much better future.
We can learn a lot when we've got more time.
Yes.
We've got more time.
We have. That's true. We've all been given time.
We've been grounded.
Very
Find the good in
true.
it. It doesn't matter how crappy a thing your situation is, there's always good comes out of it.
We all need to go and hug a tree.
We do. I'm ready.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
Well, thank you for honouring me and what I've learned in life. I'm happy to pass it on.
When I can say how much it's helped me in my life, if we all pass on what we learn, we all help each other.
And that's true.
Thank you. We'll talk again soon in another episode. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening in today. Many thanks to my guest, Kawena Gordon. You can find out more about Kawena on her website www.expandingenergies.com.au. Music provided by my wonderful son Bradley Button, who you can follow on Instagram at Bradley W. Button. I'd love for you to join us for the rest of this series, and if you think someone else you know could benefit, please share this podcast with them. Coming up in episode 4, we'll discuss with Deirdre Hanna, founder of Hopewell Hospice and Paradise Kids, the topic of trusting the process. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Julia and and at Synergy for the Soul, as well as Whooshka, Spotify and iTunes, and now YouTube also. Website is currently in the works, and you can get my book online at amazon.com or barnesandnoble.com. Remember, never underestimate the vibe of life, and you are the pen to your own book. Don't forget to give us a review, and I look forward to joining you again soon in episode 4. Bye now.